So we're going to get straight into it. So I need, I don't know, like 6 to 8 people just to join me out on the court, please. And we're going to get straight into it. And could you each just go and grab a bib there from Sam? Just go and grab a bib. So the first round of what we're going to do is we're just going to go through some like movement and activation activities that I like to do. These aren't necessarily like basketball specific, but it's just really good for movement and a really cool way to kind of start sessions. The perspective of this can be for youth, so mini ball all the way through to like U14, but these and anything we do today can be used at any level. Like I can guarantee you everything I've done here I've probably done with the professional level as well, so there's no limiting factor on it. So what we're going to do first is I need you to just tuck your bib into your short. Yeah, just tuck it into your short. And we're just going to play a series of what we call bib rips. So let's say I get 2 players out here, and I just need you right foot to right foot. Right foot to right foot. Just closer. Boom. So when I say go, you have to rip your partner's bib out to get the point. So you can't really move, you can only really pivot on this foot, all right, but you're trying to steal each other's bibs, okay? Clear? All right, you guys can also set up the same somewhere else. So one-on-one, bib rip. All right, ready? And 3, 2, 1, go. Try to get it. Can't hold it. So just play. So just reset, once you've been ripped, just reset it, put it in, go again. You can even change foot, okay? Just can't move, you just got to have that foot planted. So again, this is a bib rip. So I would have this like, let's imagine we have way more kids on the court, way more players on the court. It's just a cool way to kind of engage them. You can see they're in a good stance, they're a little bit active, they have to move around. Also some pivoting involved as well, so even for young players, this is also pretty good. You can change your foot around and change partners too, it doesn't matter. When I do this, I normally do it pretty quick, so it could be like, hey, play your partner first to 3, you could change, or play first to 1, then find a new partner, and things like this. Okay, we can also do the exact same thing, but let's say you guys play inside the circle. Say you and your buddy go and play inside where the former circle used to be, and you guys can do the same over here. All right, so now we can play the exact same concept. This time you're free to move, all right, anywhere in the circle. So you're still trying to rip the bib, but now you're free to move inside this area. Okay, ready? And 3, 2, 1, go. Yep, once you're done, reset, play again. Good. Yep, move around, free to move however you want. However you want, play again. So again here, now we open it up a little bit. Now there's a bunch of different movement that can happen, and we can play like this. So this is just a one-on-one battle, all right, with the bib rip. We can also, okay, cool, hold there. Let's say everyone go into the 3-point line over here. Everyone into the 3-point line. Now we do the same thing, everyone inside the 3-point line. Now you play everyone versus everyone. So there's no ganging up, there's no teaming up. You're just trying to get it. If you get ripped, all right, you get one, you get a point. If not, you get ripped, you just put it back in, start playing again. All right, ready, and 3, 2, 1, and go. So again, just some agility, all right, just a little bit of moving around. Really cool activator. And cool, all right, hold. All right, so you guys pretty much get the picture with this. Okay, how can we make this a little bit more basketball? How can we make this? Yeah, just use the ball. So everyone grab a ball. Everyone grab a ball and just set up and play the exact same thing. Now we have to dribble, now we're moving around. We're still trying to steal, but now we all have a ball. So as you can see, like any game can really just be added into a basketball mix, and now we got them dribbling around, activating, and playing. All right, ready, 3, 2, 1, go, let's play. Now we have to dribble around, now we have to activate this way. If you get ripped, just put it back in and start playing again. Cool. All right, just hold there, guys. Thank you. So we can also play the exact same thing one-on-one like we had before. So you could play in a smaller area with the big rip idea with your buddy. You can play like this, you could play on a bigger court. You can also imagine, let's say, right now there's only 6 of them, but there could also be 12 on one court. You can make the area bigger, you can make the area smaller. With young kids especially, I'll get to this more with the dribbling, but it's also a good way to teach the rules. So for example, if there's any violation, right, that could also be a point deducted, a point added to someone else, etc., etc. So this is just another cool way we can play bib rip. And again, you could use this for a bunch of different things. Let's say, for example, let's say you face your buddy here at half court. So one buddy here, one buddy there, facing each other along this halfway. This is kind of similar to those who've seen Sam's clinic. You can do this as a chase. So you could play like a situation where one buddy has to chase the other, where you could start with like a paper, scissors, rock or something like this. You can also do something the same, except it's now one buddy has to try to get to the other end. So for example, let's say you two are playing each other. You have to try to get to that baseline. You're playing defense and you're trying to rip his bib out.
So I'm getting the ball away?
So you can keep the ball. Yep, so dribbling the ball like you just were, but now you're trying to stop him from getting to the side. All right, you guys spread out. Everyone understand this, right? So this side, try to get to that baseline. You guys on defense, you're trying to get a rip. All right, ready, and 3, 2, 1, let's go. Cool. All right, so pretty basic concept. Incorporate some dribbling, a little bit of back and forth. Again, you can imagine there's a bunch of players. You could even do it like team versus team. How many rips does this team get? How many rips does this team get? Et cetera, et cetera. Just put the balls away for a second, and you can just untuck the bibs and just lay them down there for a little bit. You can go for a slide. And now just come on the court. You don't need your bib right now. So again, another activator that I really like to use is a different tag name, just called knee tag. So you and your buddy, let's say, you're not allowed in a big area, but let's say the circle's pretty good. You guys are just in a stance, and you're trying to tag your buddy's knee. Okay? Now, I really like to use this with like mini ball as well, because it engaged them in something that's really important as a basketball player, which is your stance. Now, I like to think when I coach like mini basket, that if you can get the players to understand like getting in a stance and playing in a stance and looking like a basketball player, like that's a really big piece of the puzzle. So stance without the ball, like defense, moving, etc., and then stance with the ball. And I would always do like what I call a stance check. So let's say, for example, the players are just doing some miscellaneous stuff. They're just dribbling around. If I ever said stance in my like under 8s, under 7s, if I called out stance, they would all know that. They'd have to go into stance, and then I'd kind of just walk around and try to steal a ball off one of them, and they'd all be like trying to make sure their stance is really good, but looking like a basketball player. So knee tag, you guys can go the same, just playing in the area. So if you get a tag, well, your buddy has to do a star jump, and then you play again. All right, active, moving around in a stance, one-on-one. All right, trying to tag a knee. Ready? Let's go. Try to tag a knee. Good. You see here, these guys are doing a really good job. They're really active. And for any player, if you just see the stuff that we've already done in like the 6 minutes or whatever we spent time on, you can imagine after this, they're going to be quite ready to roll. And you can play directly from this into different situations. Good. Sweet. For older players, all right, so for a little bit older, we can also change it to boxing, and then you're tapping shoulders. For younger kids, as you can imagine, it's a little bit more risky, but for ones who are a little bit older, like U12, U14, boxing, shoulders, moving, a little bit of perception, it's also really, really fun. So again, just some activators. The bib rip concept you can use in a bunch of different ways, and the knee tag you can also use in a bunch of different ways. Give these guys a quick clap, because that was really good. If you guys want to come back, I'll use you again, because that was awesome. All right, so that's just some activation and movement. Like I said, I like to use this stuff at the beginning of the sessions just as like a warm-up activator. And it's really important, I think, with youth especially, to also do some things that aren't necessarily basketball related, because often now kids just don't play as much as they used to. So to get them to move and explore different movements, there was one good one I didn't try. You two boys, come over here. Just one buddy grab a bib, and then just come back to the center circle. This is a cool one. Is he gonna wear it? He's gonna use it? Yes. Okay, cool. Just tuck it in at the behind. Well, speaking of like moving in different ways, let's just say, you know what a bear crawl is? Hands and feet, boom. Yeah, on the ground. Boom, and go up on your feet. Yes. Okay, now we play the exact same thing. You'll have to move around, and your buddy's gonna try and take the bib from you. Okay, ready, and go. Go, gotta move. We can do better than that. Go again, reset, go again. Reset, go again, you can do better. Ready? You just gotta move around like crazy. Ready, go. Not too bad. Okay, so this is just another example of bib rip, just in a kind of different way. But you can imagine like how that really activates you, how that explores your different movement solutions. Cool. Any questions on any of that stuff? Any ideas of how you could potentially use this in a different way? That's also good. All right, can you move that on, Sam? So when it comes to like the movement and activation, I always like to use this at the start because it can also be a really good way to kind of set the tone for the practice, right? And I like to think, especially with like coaching younger players, your energy and enthusiasm as a coach is big time. So it's really important that, you know, when they're playing these games, you're encouraging them, you're energetic, you're nice and loud, you're like acting like you really want to be there, because they really feed off this stuff. So starting the practice, high energy, playing some games like this, just playing is always really, really good. The explore factor is just exploring movement. So just different situations that they can explore that aren't normally typical to basketball, like the one we just did. And just general moving around, general agility, so they can work on different things. The other thing I have up there is free time. And this is really important. I think I use this a lot when I coach like younger teams like U12 and under, is there's always a good chance to use free time within the practice. So for example, when I coached mini basket, I really liked not starting 100% on time because I like to see what the kids would do before like we really started. So we used to have the tray of balls laid out on the court, and kids would come in, let's say 15 minutes before, 10 minutes before, 8 minutes before, blah, blah, blah. And then they would just like grab a ball, and what do kids do? They just start playing. And I thought that was really cool because we created an environment where it wasn't like, no, you can't touch the ball until we start. It was like, hey, you guys can start whenever you get here, and then you would just see what they do. Some of them would even start playing the games that we play in the practice. So it might be a one-on-one game or a shooting game or something else, and they would just organize themselves and start playing, and I thought that was really cool. What we did a lot was we started to introduce this within the practice as well. I don't know if some of you, most of you would have had to deal with like, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. Attention's really hard, and getting them to focus can be really hard. So it's also good within the practice to have a segment where they don't have to focus at all, and they can do whatever they want for like, even if it's a short amount of time. So even at the middle of practice, I could just be like, all right, hold. Right now, we have 2 minutes of free time. You can do whatever you want, but I want to see you working on something. And it doesn't really matter what that is. You could grab a buddy, you could play one-on-one, you could just shoot some hoops, you could show me your dribbling, whatever it is. Hey, 2 minutes, go, and just have a little bit of free time. And I think that's really cool to have that, especially with the younger players. Even with youth, it could be like 5 minutes at the beginning, 5 minutes at the end with like U14, U12. Hey, you have 5-6 minutes, go work on your skills. It's also pretty good. All right, so that's just some ideas around activation and movement. All right, Sam, you can move it on. Okay, so ball handling. Let me go. If I have the same guys, that's fine. If I have new people, that's fine. But I need 6 or 8-ish people come back up. please. I'm not going to make you do a bear crawl like last time. I need 2 more, please. 2 more. Yeah, for ball handling. There'll be a game element. Cool. So let's go, you ladies. Let's go, you 3 go and grab a ball. Go and grab a ball. Every one of you have a ball. Cool. And you guys come over to the inside 3-point line. So you all have a ball. Nah, it doesn't matter about the bit. And you each have 1 ball between you. Okay, so we're all inside the 3-point line. Okay, so just again, some ball handling ideas. Ball handling for me, I think ball handling, handling the ball, passing, and really important is learning how to handle pressure. So this is a little bit of a fun game that we can play. So you 3 are dribbling inside the 3-point line. All right, you're just under basketball rules, so you can't double dribble, you can't move out. All right, you are playing pass and tag. So you are passing me the ball, boom, you dribbling around. I can't dribble, and I'm trying to tag you out. All right, so you 3 are passing the ball, working together. You boys are dribbling around inside the 3-point line. Okay? Only, not with the ball. So you just pass around, yeah. Boom, nice, good passing. Oh, out of bounds, let's go. Try and get someone else. Once you're out, you can just stop. Good. We got some good skill over here, look at this. Good, keep passing, keep moving it. Boom, bang, oof. That's really good, that's really good. So pass and tag, so most of you would have seen something like this, without balls, with balls, whatever. This is a cool little game that you can also put in. And you can play it a couple of different ways. They did a really, really good job, and everyone was basically out really fast. As you can imagine with younger players, it might take some time. So usually what I do when we play this is I just put a timer on, and I say, hey, you have 1 minute, how many people can you get out? And then it's a little bit easier to kind of control, because obviously if you try to get out 6 people, this could also take a long time. But as you can see, you can flip it. So now you boys are the taggers. You all can dribble around. You guys can just play in the background, try to get them out. Ready, 3, 2, 1, go. But as you can see here, like, we can coach the violations for the ball handlers, and then we can also coach up on the moving of the ball for the taggers. Obviously, these players are a whole lot better than what like a under 7 or under 8 would be, but you can see the concept and how much value you can add into this just by adding this little bit of freestyle with the dribbling and obviously the ball movement. Boom. All right, cool. You guys can stop there. Good job. All right. So pass and tag, again, more people, more space. You can reduce the space. You could even play this in a really small segment. So it could, right now we've got 3 players. It could also be 5 or 4, etc., etc. So this is just a cool way that we can activate this way. All right. Steal the ball. Okay. Let's go. Everyone get a ball now. Everyone needs a ball. And you will find some space. The cool thing about Europe is usually there's a whole bunch of lines on the court, right? So you don't really have to be too imaginative to find some boxes to play, but we'll use the center circle. So just give me 2 of the boys, just come over here, and then everyone else will just find a space similar. So just like we had the bib rip, now we have one-on-one dribble knockout. So we can play this, obviously you would have seen this in bigger scale, where everyone's playing each other. We're both dribbling the ball. I'm trying to get a steal. I really like to play this in a smaller setting, like one-on-one, because you have to be active, right? Obviously, if you play this in like, let's say 6 people on one court, obviously you always have kind of someone just kind of coasting, kind of waiting for everyone to knock out each other, and then they come in at the end. So right now it's going to be one-on-one in a space, so you 2 can go together, you can go in a space, that's all good, but you're trying to dribble and knock each other's balls out of the area. All right, ready? And 3, 2, 1, go. If you get a tip, that's just a point. Again, you could play this for time. I usually play this for like 20, 30 seconds. All right, they have to dribble the ball, try to get as many touches as they can, as many steals as they can, etc., etc. Good. And cool. All right, you guys can just hold. Good job. So usually some of the things I really like to teach within this is just activating your offhand. So obviously when you play this, I can't just tuck the ball and try to hit someone else's ball out. I have to be dribbling the ball, and I have to also activate my offhand, which is really important. Number one, protecting the ball. If someone tries to steal the ball, I have to be able to protect the ball. But I also have to be able to just loosen that up and engage. And for young players, this is really good because it gets them away from the idea of obviously eliminating double dribbles and also just the concept of having to protect the ball. All right, obviously you can play this in a bigger setting. The other thing I also like to add to this is if one player is playing, and let's say this happens a lot in youth, if I turtle and I put my back to this player, I can also reward points for him because we want players to be able to kind of face that pressure and not just carry away like this. So usually when we play, I would also add a point or take away a point if your buddy goes back to you. So we also kind of want to keep that confrontation going. All right, let's play one more round real quick. As you can see, nothing crazy to the game, but a real cool way to play live dribbling. They have to work on different solutions. They have to move around. We could also loosen this up and let's say, hey, let's play to 3 touches, and then you have to play someone else, so they also mix up the different buddy that they may have. And cool. All right, let's stop there. Really good. You got any cones? Can you grab 2 cones for me, please? That was a really good job. Let's go 1 ball between the 6 of us. Oh, these ones are cool. These ones are good. And we'll go the same teams. I don't know how fair it will be, but we'll go the same teams as before. Yeah, just 1 ball between us. Okay, so let's just have the 2 teams we just had just start kind of facing each other in the center here. You guys have to have redemption because you got smoked in the last game. So yep, you guys are a team. You boys are a team. Just come here. Okay, so this is a game I like to play, just general passing game, but really great game to play, especially when you have a problem, when you have really big hoops, but you have really small people, okay? Because this is a challenge for us. Sometimes we all don't have small hoops available. So the concept of shooting can be difficult, but also when you go to play, this can also be difficult. So how we're gonna play this is it's basically basketball rules. Right now you only have 2 dribbles. So I have 2 dribbles. I don't have to use them, but I can. I have 2 dribbles. You are working together to move the ball towards the cone, pass, and I have to knock the cone. So you will be playing towards this like it is your basket, and you boys will be playing towards that cone like it's your basket. Let's just pretend obviously the baseline is out of bounds, and let's just say top of the 3-pointer is out of bounds, and we just play like this. Any violation is a normal violation. So if you take more than 2 dribbles, that'd be a turnover. Double dribble, turnover. If it goes out of bounds, travel, etc., it's a turnover. All good? Any questions on that? All right, ready? Let's check it up and then we can just play. Check ball, and let's hoop. So again, we're just playing basketball essentially, but we've taken away the basket, now we've got a cone. You could also put in like a shot clock-ish, let's say if it's taking too long. Boom. You gotta knock it over though, it's gotta be down. And you can see different things. Okay, maybe I should use a smaller cone. Maybe my throw was pretty good. Okay, and hold there, freeze. So we can already kind of see And this is very typical because it can happen a lot, especially with mini ball. When they get closer to the basket, everyone kind of bunches up. So we could also change something here. We could add maybe another line, and what could we do? How could we help this?
Put another cone there.
Could put another cone, multiple targets. What else could we try to do?
Specify an area where only one player at a time can be in.
For example, you could create your own little keyhole situation and say, hey, 3 seconds, 1 player, etc., etc. Let's just say for now, because you guys will be able to use your imagination, let's just pretend that there's a smallish semicircle, kind of like handball there. Only 1 player is allowed in there at one time, right? And now let's continue play. Make sense? All right, let's go. So now we can kind of adjust it, obviously for spacing and things like this. Great job. And we would play this like a normal game. If we had players waiting, let's say, for example, there's not enough for 3-on-3, there's some players waiting, we can sub them in. If there was more than 2 teams, we could have players rotating in and out, we could play to 1 point, etc., etc. Cool. All right, hold there. So another way we could use this to work on handling pressure, for example, is we can put in a rule where it's like always double team. And this can be really good for like under 12, under 14. Let's say, for example, whoever has the ball, 2 players got to try and double team the ball at all times. So you're trying to trap. You're still playing attack on offense, but let's say the ball's here, 2 of you have to try and double the ball. If the ball moves, wherever the ball is, you've got to try and trap the ball again. Okay? Let's just say the ball's here. All right, get the idea? Ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Double the ball, double the ball, double the ball. Go try and double. Yep, try and move, good. Yep, ball here, ball here, ball here. I got another one. 1 player down. Go play, hands, 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 hands. Good, good deflections, I like it. Okay, we could also do the same thing. You guys can keep playing. We can also do the same thing, and maybe we could give a temporary disadvantage. So we could play this like 4-on-3, for example, and we could just try to play it this way where we're trying to double the ball, try to get steals, trying to generate turnovers, make it a little bit more pressure. We could also say no dribble, for example. We could do a bunch of different things. But this is just another way we can kind of add a different element to it, obviously trying to put a little bit more pressure on it. Let's just say, let's take the cones away for a second. You guys are doing a great job. Just move the cone over the baseline. Put it over here. Yep. Let's say you have the ball. Boys, you're on defense. So let's just pretend this is the baseline. Okay. Going in kind of the same direction of like handling pressure. I like to call this touchdown because you were trying to advance the ball through the other end. So baseline to baseline, and you win the game by going through under 10 seconds. So you inbound the ball, boom, pass goes in. You boys are playing pressure. You can choose to double team. You could play this 1-on-1. All right, you could leak out, whatever you want to do, but you have 10 seconds to get the ball through the baseline. So it's not out of bounds, it's the end zone.
Okay, now I have...
Yeah, let's just say you have 2 dribbles. All right, so from the inbound, boom, 10 seconds, we got to play. Ready, let's go. 10, 9. Ooh, we had a screen. Good. All right, now we flip it. The boys are trying to go the other way. Same thing, flip it. Here we go, try to get the ball in. Boom, 10, 9. Cool. Yep, keep playing. You just go back and forth if there's a turnover. So obviously, as we've seen success, we've seen some failure, and we can obviously learn and we can talk about different ideas and how we can do a better job. We could also, again, we could play this full court, or at least, let's say, baseline to half court, even if we had 4 or 5 players on the court as well. But as you can see, just the kind of the similar concept, but different idea, handling pressure, etc., etc. And cool, try to score. And turnover, too long. One more time, boys, your ball. One more time. Got 10 seconds. Inbound the ball. Go, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Woo, good touchdown. Great job. Okay, great job. You guys can sit. Give them a round of applause. That was great. So we had the pass and tag, we had the steal the ball, we had the cone game, and we had the touchdown game. So just different ways we can integrate the ball handling to the mix. And again, these don't have to be the way you do it exactly in order. These are just kind of random, rapid fire, just different ideas. Hit that, cool. So with ball handling, really important for young players, because handling the ball and the ability to handle the ball unlocks the game for them. All right, as you can imagine, and you've seen this before, a player who's just started to play, if you can't dribble in basketball, it's really hard to play. And it can lead to other things as well, but the ability to handle the ball and having confidence with handling the ball really unlocks the game of basketball. And you can see, like, as players kind of go through that process of becoming more confident with the ball in hand, it just opens the game and becomes more fun. Basketball is a whole lot more fun when you can handle the ball. Teaching the rules. So whenever you play something ball handling related, immediately teach the rules. All right, so for younger players, teach them the rules, then use the rules in any game. So any game has violations, any game has ways that you can teach. I also really like to use, whenever we're playing, let's say mini basket's really good. If you're playing like a one-on-one or a small game 2-on-2, get the players to understand the violations so they can kind of referee each other, right? Because it's another way they can pick up. Like if someone double dribbles and you know you get a point if you make them double dribble, well, you're going to be watching out for this kind of stuff because you know the rules and you're trying to identify it. And skill. So we kind of talked about it a little bit with the unlocking the game, but skill equals confidence. They're directly related. So when people used to come to me, parents used to say, oh, my kid's not really confident, and I would say, yeah, because they're not so skilled yet. Yet's really important, the power of yet. But skill and confidence are so interlinked that it's really important to understand this. So if you want to be more confident, you have to work on your skills. Ball handling is really easy. How do you get better at ball handling? Dribble the ball. Just like anything else, you actually have to go and do the task. You have to help create those situations as a coach, but getting them in those situations and working on those things ultimately lead to building the confidence. Cool? Any questions on anything ball handling related? Any ideas, any thoughts, or any questions on anything we did? How do we prevent from over-dribbling? That's a really good one. So skill can be the addition of something. So I can become more skillful from adding something to my game, but skill is also the elimination of something. So for example, if I over-dribble, that doesn't necessarily link to being skillful, it can be also unskillful. So in terms of this, I would always work on different ways to limit the dribbling. So like 2 dribbles in one game situation, for example. Or another way I like to do it is, like, I call it hot potato. So if I catch the ball, let's say we're playing a small-sided game, 3-on-3 or something, I can have the ball, but I can only have it for like 3 seconds. So it doesn't limit me from attacking, scoring, passing, but my options are limited, so I have to act faster. So something like this, for example. But that's a good question, trying to reduce it. And I also have that conversation with players, even younger players, and get them to understand that I can be more skilled by taking away things. If I can take away time of pivoting and just being able to get the ball out of my hand, for example, that becomes more skillful. If I can take 1 dribble to get to a location versus 3, that's more skillful. So it's also the elimination of something. It's a good question. Any other questions relating to the ball handling side of things?
At what age would you start with stationary ball handling work?
Great question. I tend to, especially with young players, for example, I tend to just almost scrap it. Because, okay, a kid knows what a basketball is, and they understand the idea of you dribble and it comes back, but they kind of need to just be able to work on this in general. And unless like someone's like really struggling, I would almost just rather throw them in the deep end and put them in situations where they just have to dribble, because it's just one of those things that they have to overcome. You know, they have to overcome. So even playing the one-on-one dribble knockout is good, even if they struggle with it for a little bit. And again, I would also work on getting them to dribble the ball in general, more like in an open space, but pretty much with my younger ones, I would always limit stationary and not really do it at all, to be honest. Just because, okay, outside of the dribbling itself, that's not going to also transfer so much because they have to move around anyway. It has to be a little bit more dynamic. Does that kind of make sense?
So at what age would you start?
So for example, when we had like 5 and 6 year olds, I wouldn't even touch on it. And even if they're like traveling sometimes and picking up the ball, I'd rather them kind of be on the move and just like really encourage them to just be working on the dribbling itself, because eventually they kind of overcome it in the end. And then obviously working on it on their own. So again, just dribbling the ball. Any other questions? Cool. All right, what's next? What we got going on? Oh, finishing. Cool. All right, couple more players, please. It could be the same if you want to get some more hoops in. Go and grab one ball each. Anyone else can join us, also fine. Just go grab one ball each and just come over to this basket. Here's a ball here. Both need a ball. All right, let's just go in the middle of the free throw line. So here's a racing game, cool little finishing game that we can play with 2 buddies. You just face each other, splitting that free throw line like this. So one player like this, one player like this. There we go. Okay, this is called tap and go. So essentially, you two will tap the ball whenever you're ready. Tap. You'll do some type of exercise, and then it's a race to finish. All right, so tap, I would say something what you have to do, and then you have to race to finish. The finish can change, what you have to do will change, but the concept of racing will always be there. So the first one you're going to do in your own time, tap 2 times around the waist, and then you've got to go to a layup off 2 feet. That makes sense? So tap, boom, boom, boom. Try to finish off 2 feet before he does. All right, whenever you're ready. And then you race and boom. Good. All right, reset and go again. Reset and go again. Yep, just keep playing. So this is tap and go, fun little finishing game. Obviously, it's pretty simple. Tap the ball. There's a different thing that you have to do as far as going towards the basket and finishing. And then there's obviously a different finish that we can put in. So I normally start with some type of wrap, especially for the younger players. Just getting to move the ball around their body is always really good. But this can also progress to different things. Now, even though right now there's only 2 players, it's also not a bad idea to have multiple on one basket, because players have to learn to interact and move around each other all the time. Cool. Let's change the angle. So let's say, for example, you're not directly in front, but you're on the side somewhere, but the same kind of setup facing each other. Yeah, it could be the elbow. Okay, this time, you're tapping the ball, and you have to do 2 times between the legs, and then go finish. So face each other again, tap, 2 times, boom, between the legs, so you play. Boom, 2 times, bang. Now you got to play. Good, racing again. Cool, reset and go again. So no matter what the level, you can always kind of find something different that you could do. Again, I would play this with my 6-year-olds all the way up. It's also just a really good activation and different finish. Let's try a different finish though. Let's say, for example, let's go tap. Let's go 1 time between the legs. But if I'm on this side, I have to change to the other side to finish. If you're on this side, you have to cross paths to try to finish. Does that make sense? So tap 1 time between the legs, and you have to cross your path. Cool. And then set up somewhere else and do the same. Set up somewhere else and do the same. So again, tap and go. You can add a bunch of different things to this. You can play quick games. Normally I would go to like 3 or something. You can elevate this to different ways of finishing. So for example, I could say only left-hand finishers. I could also say if you both miss, it's first to put back as well, and this could also be a point. For older players as well, if you miss, you can jump and finish it without landing. That could always be worth a point as well. All right, cool. Another one we could do, tap, behind the back, dribble, spin move, finish off 2 feet, etc., etc. All right, we're going to play a different game now. Let's just say you start on the free throw line. You start outside, both dribbling. All right, and let's say, for example, you start shoulder to chest with this buddy. Boom, boom, boom. So you dribble. Okay, whenever you're ready, you create some space from your buddy, right? And then you play one-on-one, but you're both are dribbling. Okay, one-on-one, but you're both are dribbling. If you lose your ball or pick it up, bad luck, you're out. You can go and finish. Okay, if you double dribble, right, it's just game over. Okay, you're trying to steal his ball, right? You're trying to finish at the basket. Does that make sense? Yes. Any questions? So dribbling, yep. You make some space, boom, and then you go play. Good, really good job. All right, reset and go again. So this is kind of taking the dribble knockout game that we played at the start, and now we can open this up into like a finishing element as well. So you boys can just reset and go again, and just keep on playing, just alternate. All right, so I call this one-on-one both balls. It's really creative because it's one-on-one and they both have balls. But another good way that we can work on finishing. For example, let's say if my buddy and I'm on defense, he comes towards the basket, but I pick up the ball. Well, now I can use the ball. You guys can keep playing. I can use the ball to kind of prevent him from trying to score, walling up, etc. Cool. Boys, play from a different angle as well. So you can play from anywhere towards the basket, doesn't matter. What I would typically do here, depending on the players and what they are, if there's no problem and they're doing it pretty fast and they don't take too long, then I wouldn't say anything. But let's say, for example, the buddy who's trying to attack on offense, they're dribbling and they're not really doing something, I can just put in a shot clock. So for example, boys, set up. At this time, when you create space on offense, boom, you have 5 seconds to score. Okay, so once you create space, you have 5 second shot clock. Ready, boom, ready, 5, 4, 3, 2, great job, great finish. For this as well, we can also add in different point structures. So for example, if you finish inside the smile, this could be worth more points. If you finish inside the keyhole, that could be worth less points, and things like this. Cool. All right, let's go one ball between you, and just coming over here. Cool. And let's go, one buddy just go here, and the other buddy go kind of in the center circle-ish area. Yeah, right there. You start with the ball, come back a little bit. Cool. One of the biggest things to overcome in youth basketball is, can I make a layup in transition with someone chasing me? Can I make a layup in transition, someone chasing me? Okay, so this is one of the biggest things to overcome, so it makes a lot of sense to just rep this situation out. So this is a typical situation. I'll also go through different angles, but essentially how we play this, you start there. Let's say you start one step back. You're just going to start the game by running and show a target hand where you want the ball. So I'm here, you start, let's go slow, you start running. I've just got to throw it and then I'm chasing. You just got to throw it and then you're chasing. Okay, come back. Whenever you're ready. You start running, throw and chase. Boom. And then we're chasing, boom, boom, boom. Now, this is a real, boys, you can reset and let's say you just switch and go the other direction. So you can go this side and you can just switch offense, defense going this way. Okay. So again, big advantage to start, but another thing that they have to overcome, even though I'm really open and I have a lot of space, I have a lot of time, I have a lot of advantage, just that pressure of knowing that someone's chasing me is just one of those things you have to overcome at the younger level. Now you could do this in different spacing, so right now this is kind of more open court. If you had like mini basket, for example, you could do the exact same thing, but just scale it to the size of the court, if that makes sense. So this is one of the ones you have to do. Boom, kick ahead, someone's chasing me. I just have to overcome this whole idea. The biggest factor I see a lot in this situation is because the players go so fast, all right, the ball's also traveling fast. So a lot of the times, what do we see? The ball comes off the backboard like boom, and they just smash it off. So they have to attack fast, but then they have to have soft touch. And this is just one of those things you have to overcome. Cool. You can also obviously teach the understanding of we have to run wide, et cetera, et cetera. Now let's just change this slightly. So this is one angle, pass the ball. You go back to where you were. So you're running wide. Now, all right, as you run, I'm gonna pass, and now I'm coming from a different angle. So what could happen, for example, is I'm here, you might have to try to cut me off, or let's say I'm really fast, and I've passed the ball, and now I get to this side of you, you might have to go the other way. All right, so it's just a different angle, but the same idea. You're trying to attack, one-on-one, open court, layup situation. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so you can start ahead, slightly in line. Ready? Same thing, go. Boom, take. Okay, pretty good take. You guys can line up and go the other way. Same idea. Okay, so now all we've done is just kind of manipulated the situation. And again, this is something that we have to get players confident in. I've got a lead, and right now you still have a big advantage on offense. All right, can I create in this situation? Can I find the space in this situation? Can I execute and finish in this situation? Again, it's still a big advantage, and we want them to be able to be comfortable in this situation and find space. Cool. All right, boys, you can just hold there. So it's pretty good. Again, I have space on offense. I want to try to find the best angle to try to attack the basket. I have momentum and I have space. So we want them to get used to this situation. Again, I can put timers on this. I can put point systems on this. I can gauge it as much as I want. Now, the last one I like to play is now you're here, and now we're kind of in this situation. You start to run, and then I'm backing up, and now it's a real just downhill advantage that you have. Now, what I like to teach here is trying to play an attack situation. I have space to gain speed. This is a very hard situation to defend. I want to stay nose to nose with my defender until kind of a last possible second. If I spend too much time dancing side to side in this situation, it takes too long. So I attack nose to nose and then kind of make my decision towards that three-point line area or towards the basket. So you can start on offense this time. You start with the ball, you start your run, you got to backpedal though. So you backpedal and you kind of meet. All right, ready? Go. Boom, attack. Not too bad. Set it up, go the same thing on this side. Again, what's really handy with this, if you have a bunch of players on one court, you can just play kind of in a cycle motion. So one group can go this way, one group can go this way. If you have like 12 players, works really well. You can rotate through it pretty easy. All right, go one more time, boys. Backpedal situation, downhill. Boom, attack. Cool. Now, freeze, good job, really good job. All right, give them a clap. Boys have been good. So these situations pop up a lot, especially if you're playing full court situations, 5-on-5, 4-on-4, whatever. These situations pop up a lot, and we want the players to be able to attack in these situations. All right, often you'll see players chase situation, not confident, catching the ball, open court with space, not too confident, or even downhill situations like this. If I catch the ball, my defender's backpedaling, there's no pass available, I have to have the confidence to be able to attack with speed, use my ball handling, and then finish towards the basket. Cool. Let's just go. Can I get you 3? We'll go one more. You guys are doing a great job. Okay. Let's go over here, actually. Okay. Really cool game I call Hot Potato. If you need a sub, you need a sub. You want a sub? No, it's fine. Very good. Okay, so let's just go everyone shoulder to shoulder. just at this line, shoulder to shoulder. Okay, whoever I pass the ball to first, boom, get back on defense, go. And then boom, and then it's just 2-on-1. Make sense? Call this hot potato because obviously defense got to pass the ball back, play defense. You go 2-on-1 this way. Yep. So whoever gets the ball first, hot potato it back to me. You two can't go, whoever's remaining until I pass the ball back. So hot potato, next to 2-on-1. All right, ready? Go, play. Cool, all right, come back. All right, same idea. Again, it can be random. You don't know who's going to be in. Go, 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 go. Cool. All right, boys, come back and you can just reset. All right, so hot potato situation. So usually if I had enough coaches, a coach could be there kind of controlling who goes. You can also have the players do it for themselves. That can also work. The thing with this situation is now we're combining a bunch of different things, right? So now we've got the finishing element, obviously 2-on-1 like we all know. The key here with any 2-on-1 situation is I have to attack to score. I have to attack to score. If I attack to pass, there's obviously not many options that can come from this. Unless I have a clear advantage where I can pass the ball. If I have the ball, we need space, but then I also need to think to score. We can also play the exact same thing with 5 players, and then we go boom, boom, first 2, go, and then we play it 3-on-2. Make sense? Cool. All right, we can flip it. Okay, so first thing there, non-linear. So it has ice cream. So what I wanted to mention, I think is really important, because I'm going through this in kind of it seems like a sequence, it is, because everything's kind of packaged together, doesn't mean that this is exactly what the practice has to look like. It doesn't have to look like, hey, we do an activation, hey, we do ball handling, then we do a little bit of finishing, and it's all kind of sectioned out. Everything can be intermingled, so it can be all mixed together, and you don't have to wait to the end to have dessert all the time. Okay, you don't have to wait to the end of the meal and then you have your ice cream. So in youth practices, what I see a lot is coaches are so eager to do these drills and do this teaching and build up. And then a lot of the time you get to the end of practice, you go, damn, we have like 5-10 minutes. All right, now we can just play. All right, and so the free play and the 5-on-5 or the 3-on-3, whatever it is loaded towards the end of the practice, when the idea of the practice should be we want to try to play as much as possible. Even if you do a lot of just different game situations in the practice, you also want to have a healthy amount of playing the actual version of what you do within the practice, because that's where you can kind of connect and transfer the different ideas that you work on, if that makes sense. So for example, we could start the practice playing 4-on-4 if it's under 12s in our format. So we played a 4-on-4 format back home. We could start with playing the actual game they play. For adults, it could even be 5-on-5. And then we could work back from there and work on different skills coming back to the game. So then we're just using the full picture as we go. No fluff. So that's just kind of along the same lines. We don't have to do a lot of this and that throughout the practice to kind of add it all together, because the fluffy things take away time from the main idea. We want to play as much basketball as possible within the practice, and if we spend time trying to just over-drill some things, we end up not playing as much as we want. All right, so eliminating things that we can increase time on task. So for example, it could be limiting the amount of talking we do in between things. It can be limiting the lines. So for example, like everything we've done right now, even though there's only 6 players or 2 players, I would do the same thing on the same basket with multiple players kind of interacting in and out, versus like, hey, we're doing this and everyone's in a line. Okay, the exception would probably be the full court transition thing we just did, because obviously you can't have 2 guys crashing in like this. But as much as possible, eliminating your lines. And the drill before skill, this is a really good concept. I see it a lot too often. If I put in something new and I teach the game, right? I explain the game, this is how it works, blah, 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 blah. And then, on top of this, immediately I try to teach what I'm trying to do within the game. Good luck. So teaching the activity that you're doing and just let them go and observe first is really important, and then you can kind of think about the different things that you need to talk about. For example, we played the pass and tag game in the first group, did a really good job moving the ball. I didn't really have to explain to them how they have to move the ball to tag the players. All right, so if I did that immediately and try to coach them up on this, it takes too much time, and also I didn't need it. So I always like to put something in, step away, see what's going on, and then I can add in some instruction as we go. Cool. Any questions on some things finishing? Could be, again, stuff that we did, different situations, could be ideas or thoughts, or any other questions you might have regarding this. Cool. All right, moving on. Game situations. So again, like I said before, within the practice, we normally wait to the very end to do a lot of the game situations. So incorporating just different elements of the game as much as possible. With young groups, I like to set up, again, we had the 5-player hot potato, but let's just say, for example, just get you 3 boys out here. Can I get another 6 people, please? I won't make you have to play this out the whole time, but I just need it so we can just see this. Let's just say you guys are set up in a 3-on-3-ish situation. Could even be 2-on-2. Let's just go like this. 2-on-2, and then 2 players waiting at the baseline on the lane lines. So, yep, 2-on-2. Okay, yep, you're there, that's fine. You can go baseline, cool. So we have a 2-on-2 game. Again, this is 2-on-2, but this can also be 3-on-3, this could be 4-on-4, it can even be 5-on-5 if you have this many players. Let's say you only combine to 1 court. We can call this champs and challenges. So it's leaning in the direction of 3-on-3, but you 2 play 2-on-2, okay? And there's another group waiting on the baseline. So let's say, for example, you score the ball. You score it. Go score, get a lap. Boom. Okay, freeze, ankle. Now, you got scored, so you're off. Okay? The next team that's coming in takes the ball directly. So you take the ball directly. If you scored, you stay in. You got scored on your off, and you just have to clear the ball. All right? And then you just play immediately straight away. So who was your buddy? Cool? So we have a 2-on-2 situation. You keep going until there's a score. So if you score, next team comes in, you would go out. If you get a stop, clear the ball, and then we just keep playing. So this is just another way we can play. So you guys can try it out. You don't have to go crazy speed, but you can play. So this is a good way to get some in and outs, playing back and forth, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, whatever. But it's really good to just have a continuous cycle. Now, if anything happens, let's say 2 fouls in a row, or let's say it takes too long, we can always just switch it into change, but we can play like this, okay? Cool, and hold. Let's say we take too long, freeze there. Freeze, let's just say turnover for you guys. You guys hop off, new team in, go. New team in, go, play, go. Good, straight away. Cool, next team in, grab the ball and go. Grab the ball and go. Clear the ball and play. So again, fast pace, trying to play back and forth. We can also do this one-on-one as well. That's another way we can play. All right, foul, let's go, turnover, defense, hop off, you fouled. Next team in. Cool, and cool, hold there. Let's go 3-on-3. Let's go 3 players there, 3 players there at half court. The ball here. 3 this side. Doesn't matter any 3. 3 this side. Just line up all on one line on one side of the half court. Let's just say you guys are on this side. And let's say you guys are on this side. I think Sam, or either me or Sam, talked about this last time, but we didn't demonstrate it. So we call this numbers. Okay, I'm sure you might have seen something very similar to this. So let's just say there's 3 of you, but there could also be 5 or 6. Okay, and it goes from the first line to the back. So you will be playing towards this basket, and you will be playing towards this basket. If I say 1, okay, if I say 1, you have to get a foot to the 3-point line of the opposite end. So let's say I say 1, one player comes out and goes to the opposite end of where you're going. So where are you going? You're scoring this end? Yep, so go this end first. So go opposite, touch the 3, boom, now you come, foot, just foot. And now you're playing towards your basket. Ball here, go back. It's called numbers, it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So let's just imagine there's 6 players, and I said 2. First 2 people on each line, go. First 2. First 2, go. And now we play full court 2-on-2. Yeah, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Oh, score. All right, everyone back. Everyone back. Good job. Nice basket. Okay, we get the idea. Now you would go to the end of the line. So obviously it shuffles the line up. The next person is first, second, third. All right, 3. And cool. Now, within this, great job. Again, we could play it as 2, we could play it as 3, play it as 4, 5-on-5, doesn't matter. If it takes not a long time for this to happen, so for them to score, you can let them play it on. If it takes too long, you can also tell them to hop off. If it's out of bounds, you could play it from out of bounds. All those things in between. So this is just numbers. 2. Cool, inbound and play, stay on. And now we can play it since they scored so fast. We can play it straight into it. And cool. All right, hold there. Let's just say 2-on-2 setup. 2-on-2 setup. You come join over here. You know, you're in a different team. Let's just say you two are a team and you're just waiting at half court. So again, this is 2-on-2, but again, imagine this can also be 4-on-4 and 3-on-3. This is called fast break league. So we're just playing full court situation, okay? If you get scored on, you're off and you become the inbounding team on any side, going the other way. So let's just say, for example, you go score a layup. Go score a layup. Do-do-do. Let him score it. Good defense. All right, hold. Score a ball. Let him score. Let him score. Go score. Great defense. Boom. Now, I would normally have a second ball. You guys would either come in here directly and get this ball and play versus the defense and play on from there. All right, so you're coming in. Whoever got scored on's off. All right, and you can just take the ball and go. You don't have to inbound. All right, and play. Go. Full court situation. Cool, let's go. 8, 7, 6, 5, basket, 3, cool. All right, cool, and hold. All right, hold there. Okay, if it takes too long again, turn over. Whoever has the ball can hop off. Next team can come in. All right, and again, this is 2-on-2 right now, but think this could be 4-on-4, this can be 3-on-3, etc., etc. Just another way to get players in. All right, you guys can come back. Is there one more? Cool. All right, you guys can take a seat. That was good. Thank you. All right, so again, you could even start in a situation like this And let's say we're playing a full court scenario and we have the situation where a player catches the ball, they have space, a player's in front of them, they're not too confident to go downhill one-on-one. We can always go back to what we did before with the one-on-one situations in transition. So we could be playing this game, let's say we're playing it for like 5 minutes. We can think about the different scenarios that are popping up and what we need to work on, and then work on them and then come back. All right? We can work on them, go back to the big picture, keep building from there, see what happens. All right, but just some different full court situations that we can play. Any questions on any of those? We had the 2-on-2 continuous in the half court. You can play the numbers. Numbers is really good. I can even play this with mini ball. They can even be like, let's say, 5, 6, 7-year-olds. Really good game to play because it doesn't take too much to organize them. Sometimes you have to have a parent or a helper there just to make sure not hundreds of them are thrown into the court at one time. But really helpful when you're in a situation where organizing numbers isn't so easy. Like if you have an odd number, let's say you have 11 players, you have 5 and 6, it's an easy way to organize a live game situation without having to worry about subbing and things like this because it kind of just rotates through. Cool. All right, so this is a question I also ask in a lot of the workshops that we have. What does good coaching sound like? And this is an open-ended question. What does good coaching sound like? We can just go around the room. Positivity. Good coaching can be positive. What else could be good coaching when you hear it?
Being fair when you criticize.
Fair criticism, yes?
Always being active.
Yeah, it could be being active. You can hear the coach being active. What else could good coaching sound like?
Coaching as an example. Coaching as an example.
Coaching by leading by example, yes? Being honest, yes? Challenging, yes? Yeah, whatever the need of the athlete is. Okay, so those are all really good ones. Most of the time, this is all really good. Like coaches understand like what it actually needs to sound like when good coaching is happening. What I would always say, and this is something that often never pops up, is good coaching can always be silence. And I think that's probably one of the things as coaches we're least comfortable in, especially in practice. Like if you go to a practice, people obviously think that good coaching is all those things, and 100% good coaching is all those things, but it's also good to understand that good coaching can be silence. So we talked about before, hey, we set up a game situation, okay? What I really challenge you to do is just kind of step back and just kind of see what happens for a little bit. Because it doesn't always have to be like crazy talking, positivity, all that stuff's really good. But even better sometimes is the power of silence to just assess and see what's going on. All right? And that's something that, you know, as a younger coach, I was never like this. I was taught this. I adapted to this. But understanding that silence is very powerful as well. And it's a really good tool to see what the players are doing. And then obviously you can have feedback after. So that's just something to note. This kind of goes in the way of interventions on what you intervene with in practice. So as much as possible to keep the flow of practice, try to have as many mini conversations as you can. So as the practice is flowing, grabbing a player here and there to just give them some little pointers about whatever it is, rather than stopping the practice, that's always really good. So trying to coach the individual mistake or trying to coach different solutions to the individual versus the whole group. But equally is important to stop the whole group for certain things. What I always say to coaches is, and to try to get the players to understand, if you play a lot in practice, the comeback for the coaches, you have to have the right to stop the practice. So if we're playing a lot and I stop you, okay, that can be frustrating, but not playing is equally as frustrating, if that makes sense. So let's say we're playing 3-on-3, playing 5-on-5, whatever. Intervening directly in the situation is really good as well, because you can coach from whatever's happening. So let's say, for example, we're playing 3-on-3, playing 5-on-5, and we say, hey, freeze. Everyone freeze where they are. We can recreate the situation that just happened, record, boom, boom, players get back to where they are, and then we can teach from this. Often with young players, what's really often that happens is the spacing. So if you call freeze and then 5 players try to like creep back out because they know they're all in bad spacing. Things like this can be really powerful. So intervening directly in the situation, especially with young players, because if you go away from it, and let's say it's now 2 minutes later, you go, hey guys, you remember blah, 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 blah. They don't remember. They remember when they're in it, and they can see when they're in it, but after the fact is always harder. The last thing there is huddles. Encourage your players to have huddles within the practice as much as possible. So one thing I really stopped doing about 2-3 years ago is I just stopped prescribing rotations in practice. So if we played the hot potato game, for example, I would just not even think about telling them how to rotate. Number one, I never really like doing it because it's a whole lot of thinking for you as a coach, all right? But the other side of that is it gives them a situation that they have to lead themselves. And this is something that's super powerful, especially when we're trying to teach players as they progress through the levels. If we just take opportunities from them to lead within the practice, all right, it doesn't help them so much. So you have to be okay with this not going so well, and it's hard as a coach because you want everything to be really nice and perfect all the time, and you're going there like, guys, one player could just go here and there, but it'd be like, hey, stop. You guys have 10-second timeout. You have to figure out how you're going to rotate. Everyone's got to be on the same page. Have a huddle. There's got to be some leadership. You have to figure it out. And then when we start to play, I want to see that we have some type of rotation going on. It's a great chance to give them some leadership opportunities. And again, huddles in general, really powerful. You need them at any level. But to give them some instruction on what they can do, like giving them rotations, blah, blah, blah. And also having them own player-led timeouts where you don't talk. Okay, we have a practice, we're going back and forth. If I call timeout, but I'm always the one inputting, that's also not so good. You also have to give them some opportunities to lead their own. Cool. All right, just some bonus 2 things. Defense and shooting, something I didn't really cover too much in depth today. As far as defense goes with the beginner players, I try to teach them guarding position as much as possible and trying to get them to understand that your defensive advantage is chest in front. So even like real young players, try to get them to understand that if I get my chest in front of my offensive matchup, that's a good thing, especially obviously when we're teaching on ball, right? So all the one-on-one situations we had, I'd be also teaching this to the defense at the same time. The cool thing with this is the better your defense, the more challenge for offense. So even if it's like mini basket, hey, we got to get chest in front. That's good position. As much as we can, try to get to that position, recover to that position. It's going to make our defense a whole lot better. The other thing with defense is seeing man and ball, right? That's just critical. We even talk about it at the SKYLINERS level, the BBL. Seeing your man, seeing your ball. And what that doesn't mean is I have to see them at the same time 100%, but the idea of scanning and understanding where those 2 things are is really, really important. Shooting. When I try to teach shooting, especially to the young players, I don't get caught up too much on the technique. I get caught up on more so just some principles of like, okay, number 1 is, how do I land and what is my stance? Going back to stance at the start, stance with the ball, teaching young players what does that look like, and then momentum into shooting. So I would do a lot of mixing of ball handling, for example. Let's say, grab ball, just go inside the 3-point line. Let's just say you take 2 dribbles between the legs, pick it up and shoot. 2 dribbles between the legs. Cool. All right. See if you can do a little bit faster. Grab the ball, go again. Yep. 2 dribbles, boom, boom, and shoot. So, for example, even something as like simple as this, just to work on handling the ball, then shooting the ball, gathering the ball is really important. The one thing I talk about a lot with younger players is fighting for your feet. So fighting for your stance and fighting for how you catch the ball. And what that often looks like is fast feet. So fighting for feet and getting to your feet is really important, and that basically starts the chain reaction for your first touch decision anyway. So if I get to my feet, if I get to my stance, I'm a better shooter, and I'm a better decision maker because I can be fast. Any questions regarding defense or shooting? Can be open-ended, it could be anything.
How do I prevent them from doing like terrible forms? Like, I don't know. I've seen some things in my youth team. And I don't want to see them again in their shooting form. How do I change that?
We can talk after because it's probably a more lengthy situation. I like to do things like roll up, for example. So this is a good thing to start with. Roll up, boom. You might have seen this before. Just for momentum and keeping things in line. I think this is a really good one because it provides a little bit of structure for shooting. So if you haven't seen this before, roll up, rolling up, one smooth motion. And again, it kind of goes back to what I said, from feet to shooting the ball with momentum. Momentum's a big part of shooting. Shooting, momentum, and rhythm. Anything else? Defense, shooting.
I wanted to ask, what appropriate age is it to start teaching kids team defense?
Team defense? I think it's appropriate at any level, really, but what we did a lot with, let's say, under 10s is, back home we always did bands. So we did, I've got a blue band, you've got a blue band, that's your player, and that's kind of the intro to man-to-man defense. And the rules that we had within the game, because we played like 3-on-3 situations, we always had the rule was you couldn't steal the ball off the player that wasn't the same color, but you could stop them. So for example, like me and you are blue, but you're green, but blue's not in front of me, and I'm gonna get a layup, you can come and stop me and get chest in front, but you can't steal the ball. So we kind of started that like under 10, and then obviously as you get to under 12, you can kind of naturally progress this, if that makes sense. Does that kind of answer your question? So under 10, the idea of team defense is there. If no one's stopping the ball, someone can come stop the ball, but they can't steal the ball. And then you have to recover to matchups, et cetera, et cetera. That make sense? Cool. Any other questions regarding this? That was a good question.
Last question. Let's just take for instance, you have a novice, a beginner who wants to learn how to play basketball, who has no fundamentals, like nothing to basketball. What is the part of offense you really want to focus on to start?
So that just straight beginner. How old would this player be?
Let's say 13, 12.
Okay. Skill equals confidence. So breaking down the barriers within the ball handling element of it. So I would assume that a player that's like 11, 12, 13 would be able to dribble the ball on some type of level. They're not going to have zero understanding. Making a layup in a fast break situation like we did, that's a big one to overcome, just being able to play there. And I wouldn't be like overly structured with what they could do, but I'd try to just put them in different situations to work on those skills as much as possible within the practice. So for example, one-on-one steal the ball, great for ball handling, great for positioning, one-on-one, both balls, where now we play one-on-one towards the basket because it's a little bit easier. And then, trying to integrate them into those situations where they can get into the open court, pass ahead, try to make a layup in transition. That'd kind of be the starting point. Defense, trying to stay in front of their player, and then obviously just trying to teach them where they should be in relation to ball and man, those things. Cool.
Most of the drills you shown today heavily rely on a certain amount of 1v1. But how would you go about if your players, for example, you develop them that they theoretically have the skill to play one-on-one, but they are completely lacking the creativity side of 1v1 to actually play it out 1v1. So how would you kind of develop it with it so that they don't skill but actively think about how do I use that skill now in that situation?
So you're saying they can play the 1v1, but actually using...
Like mentally they're not on the level to actually make the creative decision, okay, do we swap hands now?
I kind of get what you're at. It would be like teaching them through what's available in the different situations. So what's the goal? So Okay, the goal is to try to score in the one-on-one situation, but where's the defender and what can you do? And then even, let's say for example, if I start with the ball on hip situation, you have a big advantage and you can teach from this. Then you could go, let's say, ball on back, for example, slightly different, but you can get to the situation that just happened before. So you could kind of layer it in a way where there's different elements of what decisions available. So there's not the whole thing available. So it's not like, hey, we're checking up the ball, we're playing a neutral situation, but you could layer it in a way where there's different things available in progress. All right, and then ultimately, within the one-on-one, then becomes the team element, and that's when I would install the different rules that we have. So we always talk about one-on-one, get the job done. So anytime there's a one-on-one situation, you have free license to go score. One-on-two, not for you, got to pass the ball. All right, and then we can kind of build from that. But we would go from the different skill development things that we have with the one-on-one setting, adding extra players and building from there. Cool, great question. Anything else on these two things? Cool. All right, we can move forward. So I spent a lot of time in youth basketball, so all these different ideas have come from a range of different levels. Even up to when I came to Frankfurt, I would coach professional throughout the day, and then on a Monday, I would have under 8s. So it was a big range of different situations that I'd have to coach, and it's something that's really important to the ecosystem of basketball. So everyone involved at coaching youth levels is critical for basketball to succeed and to continue to be a powerful sport, and it's good to have young people involved. And it's crucial because most of the time, if you're coaching in schools, community club, you're going to be the first interaction with that player, with that kid. So the first impression is really, really important. So obviously, creating that environment, being with those players, it's huge for the game of basketball. The second thing I would say is having a range of coaching opportunities, especially when you're just getting started, is massive for you as a coach. You have to problem solve. Man, I thought I was going to have 8 kids. I only have 3 kids. What do? I have too many kids. I don't have much area. What do I do? All these different things help you in the long run. And it gives you an opportunity to get your foot in the door and start coaching. So that's awesome. You can go to the other side. This was just a simple philosophy and framework we started when I was at my old club. And these are just some core pillars that I just wanted to share before we finish. So our coaching philosophy relied on grassroots and community. So trying to have as many players for as long as possible. So trying to retain the depth of players that we had. And we had 4 major pillars when it came to the overall coaching philosophy. Number 1 was growth mindset. So coaches that have growth mindset, obviously, if you know what growth mindset, understanding that you can learn, you can grow, and you can adapt is crucial for a coach to have because we want to implement this with the players. The second thing is the person playing basketball. Understanding that we're not coaching basketball players, we're coaching kids, and those kids play basketball, and understanding that dynamic is really, really important. So obviously understanding the person. The third thing that was really important is always coaching for development. Okay, within the youth program, always coaching for development, not coaching for result, because it's a different situation. Development is more, we're trying to create a situation, we're trying to get better versus we want the outcome of we're going to win the game. All right? And then the fourth thing, which is really relevant to all of you, is we tried to make sure everyone was active within the community. So what that meant was if we had coach development situations, if we had clinics, if we had camp situations, we wanted our coaches to be active members. So they were all involved, we're all on the same page, we're all trying to live towards this philosophy. So it's really important. And it's really cool to see so many of you here being active within your own communities, trying to invest in yourselves, learn, grow, and develop, because it all goes back to the players. So thank you very much. So that's it all from me, but if there's any questions, we can fire away, but that's all I've got for you tonight. Thank you.